Seats, members. May I welcome today to all returning members and to those members who are newly elected. You're very welcome all. I start the proceedings today with our opening remarks, which we usually make, and may we find wisdom to carry out our duties, humanity to listen to all, the courage to do what is right, and the generosity to treat each other with respect. Do we have any apologies for absence? Peter.
Yes, I have apologies from Councillor Paul Baker and from Honorary Alderman Bill Crowther and Honorary Alderman Gordon Shermer.
Thank you.
Chairman, and Honorary Alderman Bill Odman as well.
Thank you. We noted that. Thank you. Thank you. Before we move to the first item on the agenda, which is the election of chairman or chairperson, I'd like to just say a few words. As you all know, I am not going to be here for your next sessions. So it has been a great pleasure for me to serve this council for so many years, but time has come to give the dear electors a rest. Did I hear support for this proposition? You did. I thought so. While at GCC, I've been supported by some very able officers. I will spare Pete's blushes by not mentioning him, but I would especially like to thank Neil Corbett, Kath Howarth, Paul Blacker, Simon Excel, and Sarah Scott for the support they've given to me over a long period of time. And as chairman of GCC, the star in my firmament has been the ever-patient Michelle Pigeon, together with her colleagues in DSU, and so thank you all. Though there is a tendency towards political tribalism, over the years I've also much enjoyed contacts with a number of opposition members. I cannot name them here, as that might disadvantage them in their future careers. But can I here thank one of them, I won't name him, for saving me from being severely savaged by his fierce wolfhound. Thank that member. Goes without saying that I have much benefited from the friendship and advice of members of my own group, and I thank them all most sincerely. Now, I know this is going to make Mark Hawthorne groan as I embark upon a recollection of from my pre-GCC days when I lived in the Far East. And I recall the time when my firm returned to Shanghai after many years of absence. And so there was a big celebration to be held, and as chairman, I was expected to make the opening remarks. We celebrated this in the Great Hall of the People, no less, of Shanghai, attended by mayors, dignitaries, press, and all the paraphernalia. And a wily staff member, hoping to wind me up, assured me that I would have to give my opening comments with a speech in Chinese. Now, I couldn't manage Shanghainese, but I could manage, with a bit of help from my friends, Mandarin. And the day before the meeting, the wily staffer was taken aback to find that I would indeed speak in Chinese. And alarmed, he arranged for a charming lady to administer smelling salts should I be overwhelmed by stage fright and collapse into the arms of a sturdy keeper, which he also arranged to be there. But the speech was successfully delivered. Well, through my chairmanship, I've been supported and guided by another sturdy keeper here. Thank you, Alan Priest, for all you have done helping me keep me on the straight and narrow and keep me under control at difficult times. And so, members, enough of that. And we move now to the next item on the agenda, which is election of chairman. Do we have any nominations? Mark.
Crikey, it hasn't been that long that you've forgot my name already, Ray. Thank you. Can I just say, before I put my nomination forward to this meeting, can I just thank you, Ray? I know we did it at the last council meeting, but I think we all genuinely thank you for your long service to your community, to this county, as a cabinet member, but also as chair of this council through what has been a rather unusual time, having to deal with new technologies that have not always worked the way that you expected. So I think we are very grateful for your time as chair, and I know that you will enjoy your retirement, but will keep very much in touch with all of us on a regular basis. Mr. Chairman, it gives me great pleasure to nominate Councillor Alan Priest to the position of a chairman of the council for the civic year 2021-2022. I have known Alan for many years. He is a good friend and colleague, even through that time when he was batting for the Purple Party as a UKIPper. But the one thing that anyone who knows Alan will know is he will do anything for his community. And if you go around Lydney, you are stopped on every corner by someone who knows Alan, someone that respects Alan. And I think it's shown time and time again, whatever colour party he wore, that he is being returned handsomely to that division. So it is, I think, gives me great pleasure and privilege to nominate Alan, who has not only earned his spurs through supporting Ray over the last 2 years, but I think will make an excellent chairman of this council and an excellent ambassador for this county. So I nominate Alan Priest.
Thank you, Mark. And do you have a seconder? Thank you, Phil. Yeah. Sorry, my eyesight's not very good.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I have the great pleasure and privilege of seconding the nomination for Councillor Priest, who sat alongside me for a fair few years in the council chamber before he decided to go elsewhere. And like Mark said, I think Alan's very much the voice of Lydney and indeed the wider Forest of Dean. I think it goes through Alan like a stick of rock. I think he will bring as much credit to the Forest of Dean as Councillor Morgan did during his time in the role. A great voice for the Forest of Dean, already recognised for his great work around citizenship over the past 2 years. And like Mark said, I think he'll be a great ambassador for our great county. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. And I think, Paul, you wanted to say something.
Yes. First of all, just to confirm, the Lib Dem group will not be putting forward a nominee for chair, so we wish you all the best, Alan, because you'll have the votes, I'm sure. I just wanted to take a moment, Ray, to say a few words about you. You're probably wondering what on earth I'm going to say now. But actually, there's lots of positives because, you were the chair. For those of us who are here in the last council, you were the chair for the last 2 years. It was a very difficult time, really, and I thought you chaired it well. Chairing and leading 53 councillors is never easy. It is never easy. And I think you carried it off well. You also had a great sense of humour, which really impressed me. And I think you got through a lot of those technical issues. We had many meetings, didn't we, where there were technical issues, and you kind of got through that. I think it's fair to say that you and I have in the past had some political run-ins. I'm sure you can remember them, but they were in the past. And I will miss our corridor conversations when we're able to have those things. You're sort of grimacing there, but actually telling me all about your holidays abroad and, most importantly, your olive tree in deepest Quennington. That stays in my memory. But my best memory is when we had, you probably remember we had a motion that we put up about the people's vote when that was very topical about Brexit. And you turned to the only Green member on the council in those days, when you were coming from completely different positions, and she was getting very, very steamed up about it, as we were. You turned to her and you said, "Madam, when I face a crisis, do what I do and open a bottle of champagne." And that will always stick with me, because I think that's a very wise words. So we wish you all the best, Ray.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Mark. I don't intend to respond to those very kind comments, which are indeed very much appreciated. Thank you. Oh, I'm so sorry. Graham, did you want to say something?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Ray. I'd like to just thank yourself on behalf of the Labour Group. It's been a privilege to work with you over the years, and I found you to be, as a chairman, a very, very fair chairman. So we'd just like to wish you a long and happy retirement, and thank you on behalf of the Labour Group. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those words. Thank you. So, members, enough of all that. We now move to the election. Paul has already said that he is not proposing a further candidate. And if there are no other members proposing candidates for chairman, I see no hands, then without a vote, I think that we can say that you, Alan, are duly elected. Alan Priest.
Thanks, Pete. I, Alan Priest of 7 Greenacre Bream, having been elected to the office of Chairman for the County of Gloucestershire, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties thereof according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to be guided by the Gloucestershire Code of Conduct in the performance of my functions in that office. Thank you. Thank you, members, and thank you, Councillor Hawthorne and Councillor Orford, for those kind words, and also Councillor Theolodu. Ray Theolodu will be a very hard act to follow, and it's been an absolute privilege to have supported Ray as Vice Chairman over the last 2 years. And whether it was face-to-face meetings or with the challenges that remote meetings brought through the COVID crisis, Ray has coped at all times admirably. With his financial acumen and his expertise, GCC will miss Councillor Ray Theolodu, and I wish him all the very best for the future. Thank you, Ray. We represent a wonderful, diverse and simply special county. There's no doubt that we'll have robust political debate over the next few years. But let's try and embrace positivity, and let's try and have smiles on our faces. And we must never forget, at the end of the day, we have been elected by the people to serve the people of what is glorious Gloucestershire. Thank you. Members, before we go to the election of the Vice Chairman, I think special dispensation for this meeting. If members wish to stand or remain seated, I'll leave that entirely to their discretion. Okay? So, members, can I have nominations, please, for the Vice Chair of the Council?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. There's a bit of a whistle there. I hope you can all hear me. Can I add my thanks to Ray for his amazing service as Chairman during such challenging times. He's been a fine representative. Massive congratulations to my good mate Alan. He richly deserved this, and he'll be a splendid ambassador for the county. And I also know how highly he is regarded in Lydney and Forest of Dean, and he'll bring those skills to the whole county. So well done, Alan. But it's my pleasure to propose to be for his Vice Chairman to be Councillor Stephen Hurst. Now, Stephen is now in his second term as a County Councillor. Congratulations to him on that. During that time in office, he's been chairing the Adult Community Scrutiny Committee and has also chaired joint meetings with the Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee due to the pandemic. He's got a really great record of community service in the area that he represents, and I think will be a fine deputy to Alan. But, you know, there's always something about somebody you didn't know. I didn't realise that he was a movie star of some considerable ability, and that is that he actually appeared in Love Actually. I didn't know whether that was as Hugh Grant's body double, but he did tell me he did appear as an extra. So, you know, a career outside politics is always good for you. He's also got a lovely personality. He's very engaging and has got a twinkle in the eye, and I think he will make a fantastic Vice Chairman, so I'm absolutely delighted to propose Councillor Stephen Hurst.
Thank you, Councillor Arman. Have we got a seconder, please? Councillor Allaway Martin.
Thank you, Chairman. I have the pleasure in seconding the nomination of Stephen Hurst for Vice Chairman of the Council. He's been such fun to work with over the last 4 years, and we both start our second term together. I think he'll do a marvellous job, and I'm very pleased to nominate him as your Vice Chairman.
Thank you. Any other nominations for Vice Chairman? No, then we'll take that as read. And Stephen, if you could take up your position, please.
I, Stephen Hurst of 8 Springfields, Tetbury, GL8 8EN, having been elected to the office of Vice Chairman for the County of Gloucestershire, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties thereof according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to be guided by the Gloucestershire Code of Conduct in the performance of my functions in the office, and that's been signed by me, dated today. Thank you. I must say I was surprised to be nominated for the position of Vice Chair of the county, and also humbled at the same time. Gloucestershire is a wonderful county, and this county council is to be proud of its record in the past and plans for the future of providing services for our great population who live in Gloucestershire. I will do my best to ensure that the county maintains its high standards of performance in all that I can. And thank you very much for your confidence in me in appointing me Vice Chair of the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. And congratulations on your new role. Members, on with the agenda, item 4, the minutes of the meeting on the 17th of March 2021. Can I have a proposer and a seconder? Or has anybody got any problems with the minutes? Speak now. Can I have a proposer that the minutes are acceptable, please? Councillor Lyndon Stowe. And a seconder, Councillor Dave Norman. Thank you very much. It's quite difficult to see everybody here today, particularly at the back of the room, and obviously with a lot of new councillors. I've tried to colour code the chart, and you notice the Conservative group are in pink. I didn't have no red marker for you guys, Graham, so there it is. But so you have to bear with me if I don't know people's names at this early stage, but I'll be endeavouring to, if we keep this set up in the future, I'll have a map drawn out where everybody's sitting, so it'll make life a little bit easier. But I can just about see Colin in the background there, Councillor Colin A, but there it is. Thank you. On to item 5, the declarations of interest. Members, is there any declarations of interest for anything that's on today's agenda, please? Councillor, is it Councillor Willingham?
Thank you, Chair. Like so many other members, I've got a non-prejudicial but personal interest to declare in that I am a member of Cheltenham Borough Council, which is also appointing some of the joint committees in item 10, and I'm sure there's quite a few other members that will indicate they're members of Tier 2 authorities and have the same interest to declare.
Thank you, Councillor Willingham. Can I just take advice there? What do we do concerning councillors with similar interests? Do we take them now, or do we take them at the end of the meeting, or are they actually relevant?
It doesn't prevent anybody taking part in the debate, so while members can declare them if they wish, there's no requirement to do that.
Thank you very much. On to item 6, Leader of the Council. Can I ask for nominations, please, for the Leader of the Council? Councillor Stoll.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and may I first of all congratulate you and your Vice Chairman on your appointment. I'm sure you're going to do a great job and be superb ambassadors for the County Council in the next year. Chairman, I would like to propose Councillor Mark Hawthorne to be Leader of the Council for the next 4-year term. By any reckoning, Mark is a first-class leader. I've been fortunate to work closely with him over the last 15 months in particular, as this council faced the challenge of COVID. A lot of this work was not in the council chamber and it was not in the public domain, but these were amongst Mark's finest hours, and in those darkest days of lockdown, Mark's leadership shone brightly. He has an outstanding grasp of detail and of an ability to challenge on behalf of all residents, and in particular to act as an advocate for vulnerable members of our communities. And we need to remember also the successes that Mark has led for this council in securing funding for vital infrastructure work in this county over the past 4 years. We have a fantastic pipeline of infrastructure work coming ahead, the like of which we haven't seen for several generations. Mark is an outstanding leader. He is inclusive, he is diligent and committed and totally dedicated to the county and people of Gloucestershire. There is no better person to be leader of this council as we meet the challenges of the next 4 years together and as we build back better. Chairman, it's my pleasure to nominate and propose Mark Hawthorne to be Leader of this Council for the 4-year term. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stoll. Have we a seconder, please? Councillor Dave Norman.
Thank you, Chair. And like my colleague, I would want to wish you every success, yourself in the role and your deputy, who I'm absolutely certain you'll make an unbelievable team. Fully endorse what my colleague, Councillor Stowe, has said in respect of Mark Hawthorne moving forward. Without doubt, he has done some tremendous work within this authority over a number of years, and with the Build Back Better design, we will continue to do more and more. I have known Mark for many years. He's partly responsible for me being dragged into the world of politics. We share a boundary in respect of our divisions, and I believe, without a shadow of a doubt, the work that he has done in the past will be replicated and will go forward. And it's been a great honour for me to be invited to serve in his cabinet, and I look forward to him being my leader for many years and leading this authority. So I'm happy to endorse and second the nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Norman. Is there any other nominations for leader? No, then Councillor Hawthorne, you will continue with your excellent leadership. Item 7, Cabinet membership. And can I... Sorry, Councillor Hodkinson.
That's all right. Can I just say a few words, actually? So I'd like to, through you, Chair, and congratulations to both you and Stephen on your appointments. First of all, offer my congratulations to Mark, both on his personal victory in Quedgeley and also becoming leader of this council again. As I've said earlier, leadership is not easy. You know that, I know that. And so therefore, to be a leader for a long time, I think it takes a lot of credit. So I congratulate you, Mark. However, I also want to thank Gloucestershire's residents for voting in their hundreds of thousands, despite the pandemic. I think many people felt in this election that turnout would be down. In fact, it wasn't. In many places, it was actually up, which is great. And nearly 200,000 residents across our county voted for a representative on this county council. But their message was clear, actually, that despite the Conservatives securing a smaller majority, the majority of residents, when you look at it in that way, did actually vote for change via the Lib Dems, Labour and the Green Party. And therefore, it is rather sad that our country still has an electoral system that fails to translate the wishes of all residents into majority support. But that argument is for another day. My hope, therefore, and however, is that the Conservative leadership has listened and will listen, and that they will acknowledge that despite that majority voting for change, that they will wield power accordingly, thinking of that, sharing some responsibility of decision making and giving true influence to all councillors, all 53. There is a small majority, it is smaller than last time, and so votes in this chamber will be tighter. But that's good for democracy. But I also want to welcome, if I may, the 26 new faces to this council. That's half the council and half of my own group. More women, a younger average age, and a mix of ages, which to me is valuable, both to have the experience of older age and the new energy of younger people. However, I have to say, we still have a long way to go to get parity of gender. You know, although there are far more women than we had before, we have a long way to go. And that's incumbent on us all, as leaders of groups, to make sure that happens for next time. And to those outside of my group, while we fought hard to win, and in some cases we did, now it's the time to work hard on behalf of all our residents. And I hope we can find common cause on those issues that people raise with us on the doorstep. Finally, I'd like to thank all of my group for their hard work during this uniquely difficult election. It was challenging. 16 of us elected, the largest number of Lib Dems on this council since 2005, and just a thought for those who didn't win or lost their seats. This group has come back stronger, we are totally energised, and we are going to be focused on what we can achieve for residents over the next 4 years. So on behalf of the Lib Dem group, we look forward to working with you all, whether that is Conservative, Labour and Green, for the benefit of all the people of Gloucestershire. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hodkinson. Any more speakers? Thank you. We move on now to item 7. The Leader of the Council will announce his appointments to the Cabinet. Councillor Hawthorne.
Thank you, Mr Chairman, and can I congratulate you on your election, along with Stephen, to the post of Chair and Vice Chair of Council. I know you will both do a fantastic job. Can I also go on to thank Lyndon and David for their very kind words in nominating me. I've always believed that politics is a team sport, and I think the achievements that we've collectively achieved together is because of the strong working team ethos we have both in Cabinet, but also collectively across the Council as well. And I'm sure that that will continue to be a feature over the next 4 years. Can I also thank Councillor Hodgkinson for his half compliment. That's probably the closest I'm ever going to get to a compliment from Councillor Hodgkinson, so I'll take that. Again, I just want to echo what Councillor Hodgkinson said with regards to the residents of Gloucestershire who did vote in huge numbers, but also to all those who were responsible for running the elections during what was a very difficult and questioning time. I was on phone calls at the beginning of February, and I'm sure there were phone calls being taken place at district level as well, and returning officers were very unclear how they were going to deliver that election. I do think they did a fantastic job, not only on the day, but at the count, and they are a credit to public sector and to local government. So thank you to all of them. I also just want to say a couple of words to members. Firstly, congratulations to all the new members here today, members from all groups who are their first time in this council. We're not back in the chamber yet, but it is good to see you all, and I'm sure that you will find that the officers and staff at the County Council will do all they can to help you fulfil your duties that you've been elected to as representatives. And my door is always open as well. I'm not necessarily always there at the moment, so if I'm not there, it's because I'm working from home. But we will, I think, all work together to try and deliver for the communities that have supported us and elected us, and I'm a very passionate, strong believer in that as well. I also just want to reflect on those members who were unsuccessful in getting Rick elected, so certainly from my group to Richard Boyles and Patrick Molyneux, both cabinet members, both long service to this authority, and I want to thank them for all they've done in the past. To Rob Bird, to Kevin Cromwell, to Will Windsor-Kive, to Lorraine Patrick, to Sean Parsons, all from my group, all who dedicated big chunks of their lives to service to both their communities but also to the county. And also to members of the opposition that didn't make it back either, to Leslie Williams, to Ian Doby, to Chris Coleman, again, individuals who potentially are not of the same political persuasion of myself, nonetheless shared that common cause of having a passion for our counties and our community and a willingness to serve. And I'd like to thank all of them for their service. Mr. Chairman, I'm just now going to go on to the announcement for my Cabinet colleagues for the ensuing 4 years. So, first off, announcing Deputy Leader and Cabinet Member for Finance and Change, Councillor Lyndon Stowe. Secondly, Cabinet Member for Adult Social Care Commissioning, Carol Alloway Martin. Next, Cabinet Member for Highways and Flooding, Councillor Vernon Smith. And for those of you scribbling down on a piece of paper, there is a poster that will be emailed to you directly after my statement, so you no need to write it all down. You can if you want to. I know many of you think this is back to your exam days, but there is no marking at the end. Next up is Cathy Williams, is Cabinet Member for Adult Social Care Delivery. Next, and a warm welcome to Cabinet Councillor David Gray, who is the Cabinet Member for Environment and Planning. A newbie again next in Stephen Davis, who is the Cabinet Member for Children's Safeguarding and Early Years. Next is my neighbour, Dave Norman, who is Cabinet Member for Public Protection, Parking and Libraries. Another new person on the block, Councillor Phil Robinson, who is the Cabinet Member for Economy, Education and Skills. And last and not least, Councillor Tim Harman, who's Cabinet Member for Public Health and Communities. I'd like to congratulate all of my Cabinet colleagues, thank those who've worked very closely with me over the last 4 years, and welcome the three of you who are joining Cabinet for the first time. It is a team that's dedicated to delivering for all residents right across Gloucestershire, and we are all dedicated to do our very much best to serve our residents, our county, and the future of this great place that we all call home. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Leader. On to agenda item 8, announcements. To announce that the meeting will be webcast, but it's important to maintain social distancing and wear masks whenever moving around, please. I'd like to invite Simon to provide information on the fire and evacuation procedure.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. No tests today, so if you do hear the alarm, the exit is over there. You can see it clearly marked into the car park where there will be a gathering point. There's also another exit over there, and you can go along the back of the building to gather in the car park. And can I just say, in terms of Wi-Fi, if anybody wants to use Wi-Fi, and some of you will do, there are 2 networks available, GCC Guest and Event Wi-Fi. Neither of them need a password, okay, so they're nice and easy to get into. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Simon. I'd also like to echo the words of the leader and to welcome new elected members and to congratulate returning members on their re-election to this council. Well done. One final announcement. Chief Fire Officer Wayne Bowcock, I think he's in his last week this week, so I'd like to invite Dave Norman, Councillor Dave Norman, to say a few words regarding Wayne. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When I was thinking about what I would say this morning, I was reminded of the board listing all the chief fire officers who have served Gloucestershire, which is wall-mounted on the entrance to the world of fire at Waterwells. I reflected that I have worked for or with every chief since 1989, so members might accept that I know what it takes to make a good chief. Wayne Bowcock, our current CFO, is clearly one of the good ones. Sadly for us, he is departing to assume the position of Chief Executive and Chief Fire Officer for Royal Berkshire Fire and Rescue Service. This is one of the top jobs in fire in the country. Without doubt, their gain is our loss, and we wish you, Wayne, all the success as you take on your new job. He joined GFRS at a very challenging time for our service. Some wondered why he would take the job when faced with the issues left by his predecessor. But the true professional that I have come to know took on all the challenges, steadied the ship, and steered us through the storm and into the waters of transformation required putting the service back on course. Many of the previous Chief Fire Officers on the board I referred to earlier would join me in thanking Wayne for his commitment, skills, knowledge, and capabilities. In my view, one of the best ever to hold the position of Chief. He is well respected in the world of fire, and I am certain Royal Berkshire will not be the pinnacle of his career. I, for one, will be looking out to see what is next for him as time moves forward. It's been a privilege for me to have worked with him on behalf of the Fire Authority, which is you, all the members of the County Council, thanking him for his service and wishing him every good luck in the Royal County, which is my birthplace. I'm asking him to keep in touch with us, but sending off him with one memory, and that is remember Windsor Castle in 1992 when writing any future integrated risk management plan for that county. I would hate to have to visit you in the Tower. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Norman. On to item 9, petitions. Simon, are there any petitions for this meeting? Thank you. Item 10, council committees. I'm going to invite Simon to present the report, and there are 4 recommendations, and each will be taken in turn. Simon.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. There is an updated report before members, and you'll see it on your table. It's marked Council Committees Updated, and it's been populated with all the committee nominations. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the group leaders for all their work in terms of pulling all the names together. There's been an awful lot of work over the last couple of weeks in getting that done. So the first recommendation in the report relates to committee changes, and that is to increase the size of the Economic Growth Scrutiny Committee, Appointments Committee and Pension Committee from 6 to 7 members to reflect the requirements of the Local Government and Housing Act relating to political proportionality. And the second part of that recommendation is to establish a new scrutiny committee of 7 members for the Fire and Rescue Service. So can I hand over to you, Chair, for that to be moved and seconded? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simon. So recommendation 1 on the committee changes. Can I have a proposer and a seconder for the changes, please? Councillor Hawthorne is proposing and Councillor Stowe is seconding. Okay, can we put that to the vote, please? Show of hands. All those in favour?
That looks unanimous. Yeah. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Simon, and thank you, members.
So recommendation 2 relates to the chairs of the scrutiny committees and the audit and governance committee. And you'll see in the report before you the members that have been put forward for each committee. So we'll work through each of those. There are 2 committees where there is only one nomination. That's the Fire and Rescue Scrutiny Committee, whereas Councillor Jeremy Hilton nominated for chair, and the Audit and Governance Committee, where it's Councillor Colin Hay who is nominated for chair. But if you can work through, Chair, the other committees, and we'll need to take votes. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Councillor Hodkinson.
Thank you. I just wanted to say a few words before that vote takes place. And it's really just to briefly introduce the strategy we have here as a opposition in terms of presenting to you joint opposition candidates for the various scrutiny chairs. And I just want to talk about these en bloc to start off with. So we feel that the role of these overview committees is to truly scrutinise the council leadership and the cabinet by investigating their decisions, by probing policies, and for the overall benefit of residents. And we feel that effective scrutiny, therefore, should act as a critical friend for the executive, should work to identify where decisions could be improved, and should help the leadership to avoid making mistakes in the first place or being repeated. Now, it is clear to councillors from the Lib Dems, Labour and Green groups that we feel this is most effectively done when the chair of these scrutiny committees is not from the same party as the executive. And that will enable those chairs to follow the evidence where it leads without fear of bias or a desire to protect leaders in their own party from scrutiny. That's our feeling. And I just want to say to those who've been nominated from the Conservative Party for these positions, please do not consider our alternative nominations to be any reflection on yourselves or your level of skill. It is not about that. Our proposals are simply aimed at ensuring best practice, at following the lead from other councils around the country. So thank you for giving me that time. The names are before you. For the opposition names, they are John Bloxham for Corporate Overview Scrutiny, Ben Evans for Children and Families, Paul Baker for Economic Growth, Chris McFarling for Environment, Jeremy Hilton for Fire and Rescue, David Drew for Health Overview Scrutiny, Lisa Spivey for Adult Social Care and Communities, and finally Colin Hay for Audit. I present those to you.
Thank you, Councillor Hodkinson. Councillor Hawthorne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to confirm that we don't agree with the synopsis as of the leader of the Liberal Democrat group. We think we've got a scrutiny process here at Gloucestershire County Council that in many places has been award-winning in the past, and that has come from all councillors, regardless of their political colours, engaging in robust scrutiny, both of the executive, but also of the issues and topics facing this authority. So it does give me pleasure to put forward the names that we put forward this morning to chair those scrutiny committees, and we stand by those nominations, and I know each and every one of those individuals that is elected today as a chair of one of those committees will do so on a cross-party basis and for the betterment of this council and this county.
Thank you, leaders. Are there any more speakers before we go to the individual votes, please? No. Thank you. So we'll take each one as it comes in order. The first one is the Corporate Overview and Scrutiny Committee. 2 nominations, Councillor Phil Orford and Councillor John Bloxham. Can I have a show of hands, please, for Councillor Phil Orford? Thank you. 28 for Councillor Phil Orford, and for Councillor John Bloxham, please. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, members. Councillor Phil Orford is appointed as Chairman of the Corporate Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Congratulations, Councillor Orford. Number 2, the Children and Families Scrutiny Committee. 2 nominations, Councillor Andrew Miller from the Conservatives and Councillor Ben Evans from the Liberal Democrats. Can I have a show of hands, please, for Councillor Andrew Miller? Thank you. 28 votes for Councillor Andrew Miller, and votes, please, for Councillor Ben Evans. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, members. Congratulations, Councillor Andrew Miller, you're Chairman of Children and Family Scrutiny Committee. Number 3 is Economic Growth Scrutiny Committee. Councillor Matt Babbage, Conservative, and Councillor Paul Baker, Liberal Democrats. Can I have a show of hands, please, for Councillor Matt Babbage? Thank you, Simon. Thank you, members. 28. Can I have a show of hands, please, for Councillor Paul Baker? Thank you, members. Councillor Matt Babbage, congratulations. You're the Chairman of the Economic Growth and Scrutiny Committee. Number 4, Environment Scrutiny Committee. Councillor Dominic Morris, Conservative, and Councillor Chris McFarlane from the Green Party. Can I have a show of hands, please, for Councillor Morris? Thank you again, members. 28 votes for Councillor Dominic Morris. Councillor Chris McFarlane. Votes for Councillor Chris McFarlane, please. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, members. Congratulations, Councillor Morris. You're the Chairman of Environment Scrutiny Committee. Number 5, Fire and Rescue Scrutiny Committee. Congratulations, Jeremy, on your unopposed appointment to Chairman. I know this is a particular field that you thoroughly enjoy, so well done. Health and Scrutiny Committee. 2 nominations on this one. Councillor Andrew Gravels for the Conservative Party and Councillor David Drew for Labour. Can I have can I have a show of hands, please, for Councillor Andrew Gravels? Thank you, Simon. Thank you, members. 28 for, and a show of hands, please, for Councillor David Drew. Thank you, members. Congratulations, Councillor Gravels. You're the Chairman of the OS Committee. Well done. The last one to be voted upon is the Adult Social Care and Community Scrutiny Committee. 2 nominations again. Councillor Stephen Hurst, Conservative, and Councillor Lisa Spivey from the Liberal Democrats. Can I have a show of hands, please, for Councillor Hurst? Thank you, Simon. 28 for, and a show of hands, please, for Councillor Lisa Spivey. I apologise, Councillor Spivey. I won't make that mistake again. 24. Thank you, members. And the last committee is the Audit and Governance Committee, and congratulations, Councillor Colin A, for being unopposed on that one. Thank you. Thank you, members, on that one. We move on, Simon, to recommendation number 3, to determine committee membership.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So you've got all the names in front of you in the report. Just a couple of additions. We've got a vacancy for a Conservative on the Constitution Committee, and that's Councillor Andrew Miller. That's at A7. Then we've got the Safety and Licensing Committee. And there's a vacancy for 1 Green councillor, and that's Councillor Kate Cody. Otherwise, it's as per the report, so you just need a vote in favour of that membership.
Thank you, Simon. Can I have a proposer that the committee membership is accepted? Recommendation 3, please.
Mark.
Councillor Mark Hawthorne, and seconded by Councillor Dave Norman.
Yeah.
Members, all those in favour, please. Thank you, members. Unanimously carried. the last recommendation on item 10 is recommendation 4 to appoint 4 members to the Gloucestershire Police and Crime Panel. Simon.
Thank you, Chair. So we've got 4 members. This is it, 5 in the report. 2 Conservatives, Councillor Sajid Patel and Councillor Brian Tipper. 1 Liberal Democrat, Councillor Joe Harris. And 1 Labour, Councillor Steve Robinson. And they will join a member from each of the district councils on the Police and Crime Panel. So, again, a vote, please.
Thank you, Simon. Can I have a proposer and a seconder, please, for the Police and Crime Panel? Councillor Mark Hawthorne and Councillor Lyndon Stowe. Members, all those in favour, please, of the 4 nominees. Thank you very much. It looks unanimous to me. Thank you, members. On to item 11, the appointment of an independent member to the Audit and Governance Committee. I'm going to invite Simon again to present this report.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. The report's self-explanatory. The former Audit and Governance Committee lead members interviewed David Clowes, and they were unanimous in recommending that he should be appointed as our first independent member of the Audit Committee. This is a recommendation from the SIT for guidance. So, again, we need a vote on that one. Thank you.
Simon, do I need a proposer and a seconder again, Mr. Yes. Thank you. Members, can I have a proposer and seconder for the appointment of the independent member, please, to Audit and Governance? Councillor Lyndon Stowe and seconder Councillor Mark Hawthorne. Members, all those in favour of that appointment, please. All in favour? Is there an abstention? I think the majority win that one, Simon. Thank you. Thank you, members. Item 12, the independent persons, and invite Rob Ailiff to present this report. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Chair. The Localism Act 2011 requires all councils to have arrangements in place for dealing with code of conduct issues and allegations against councillors, and that includes a requirement that we appoint 1 or more independent persons to advise on alleged breaches. It's an unpaid position, but it plays an extremely important role in ensuring both that complaints are dealt with appropriately by the council, but also that councillors who are subject to allegations get a fair hearing. They act as the voice of the person in the street to ensure that the council acts reasonably and properly. We have 2 independent persons currently appointed. They were appointed in 2017. They're Graham Baum and John Milner. And I'm pleased to say that we haven't needed to call on their advice very frequently over the last 4 years, but nevertheless they've served GCC extremely well, and I'd like to take this opportunity to record my thanks to them for the wise and measured advice they've given since my appointment 18 months ago. However, their term of office has now come to an end, so the Council needs to appoint 2 new independent persons. To that end, Audit and Governance Committee established and oversaw a recruitment process earlier in the year, and a panel comprising councillors Nigel Robbins, Sean Parsons and Brian Easthausen carried out interviews with a number of applicants. That process identified 2 candidates who were very well qualified to fulfil the role. That's Bernard Barton-Ancliffe and Stephen Pearman. Bernard's chair of Gloucestershire Association of Parish and Town Councils. He's a parish councillor on Churchdown Parish Council and has also served in the armed forces, where he's had experience of dealing with conduct and disciplinary matters. Stephen is an IT and project management consultant currently working for English Heritage as their Chief Information Officer. He's also very experienced in governance matters, including having chaired a school governing body. The panel is unanimous in recommending that the Council appoints both Bernard and Stephen to the role of independent persons to serve for initial 4-year term.
Thank you, Rob. Councillor Joe Harris, please.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Rob, for this report. Very comprehensive, and I thank the members who contributed to this. 3 applications were received. Can you tell me if any of those applications were women? And yeah, just a comment really. It's telling, isn't it, that the 3 people that were interviewing for this position were all men. And I think, what Councillor Hodgkinson said earlier about, needing to recognise that there is an underrepresentation of women, and quite often, and certainly at this council, in my experience, and I know a lot of women's experience, there is unconscious bias. So, Rob, were any of those applications women? If none of them were, could we not have gone open? Could we not have gone back out to try and get a more diverse range of people? There's no commentary on the suitability for the of the chats that we're appointing today, but I do think it needs to be said.
Thanks, Councillor Harris. Rob, do you want to reply to that?
So we did have 3 applicants. 1 was female, 2 were male. We actually ran 2 rounds of recruitment because we wanted to widen the field, having received just 1 applicant in the initial round. But I can assure members that candidates were appointed on the basis of their suitability and skills that they brought to the role.
Thank you, Rob. Members, can we now vote on those appointments of the independent persons? Can I have a proposer and a seconder, please? Councillor Mark Hawthorne and seconder Councillor Lyndon Stowe. Members, can we all vote now, please, on that? Thank you. Members' vote is carried. Was there any votes against, please, or abstentions? Just a bit of uncertainty there. Thank you, members. On to item 13 and back to Simon on political assistance.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So this report invites members to consider whether or not to continue with the appointment of political assistants. And the legislation relating to political assistants means that a political group must have at least 10% of the membership of the council. 10% is 5.3. That rounds up to 6 members. And the decision is at 2 in the report. So it is for council to decide whether they wish to appoint political assistants for qualifying political groups. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Hodgkinson.
Thank you. Yeah, the Lib Dem group will be supporting this. I think it's important to say that having worked with political assistants over the last 8 years on the council, it is an invaluable role for us as an opposition with a large number of councillors. That individual carries out essential research, is the liaison point with officers, and when the administration effectively holds all the cards, really, in terms of officer support, it's invaluable to us to have that. I hope perhaps the Labour and Green groups may be able to come to some arrangement between them in due course, perhaps to enable them to have one too. I'll leave that to them. I just wanted to also add, for our own political assistant, that if we vote for this today, not only will he keep his job, but in 2 weeks' time he's going to get married. So it'll be a double whammy for Steve. So please, let's keep him happy just before his wedding. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hodgkinson. Councillor Hawthorne.
Thank you. You won't be surprised to hear that we also support the recommendation as outlined before you this morning. The role of political assistant is sometimes not seen towards the general public, but I can tell you I've certainly missed one over the last week, certainly trying to correlate all the committee chairmanships and committee seats. Not something I'm particularly skilled at doing, so I thank my group for their forbearance in getting all of that done. So we will certainly be supporting that, and it is a useful way for groups to liaise as well on issues that make sure that this council runs in a smooth fashion. And I guess this may be the point for me just to say a couple of very quick words about our former political assistant, Richard Coates. He was part of the furniture. For some, maybe not their favourite part of the council furniture. But certainly for us in the Conservative group, he was treasured and well valued. He was challenging, he was helpful, he could be awkward sometimes, but he was a great colleague and friend to all of us. And I know that Stephen as well appreciated his, I can't, where is Stephen? He's somewhere in the back, appreciated his friendship as well. Richard has gone on to bigger and better things. I think some of us feel he should have been there a lot longer ago, but he has taken that opportunity. It's an exciting new role. I know he's doing really well in that role and that new life he's got for him in London. But I don't think we could pass this meeting without saying our thanks, certainly from a Conservative Party point of view, for all that he's done for all of us, and particularly Pam, who I know has appreciated his ongoing IT support over many, many years. But thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Before we go to the vote, is there any more speakers on this, this item? Thank you. Congratulations in advance on the wedding, Stephen. So if we could go to the vote, please. Could I have a proposer and a seconder? Councillor Hawthorne and Councillor Stowe seconding. All those in favour, please. Unanimous. Thank you, members. And the final item in what is an unusually short meeting, the calendar of meetings for 2022. I'd like to thank everybody for their attendance today, but I would particularly like to thank the Democratic Services team for setting up this facility with the IT guys over there. I think they've done a tremendous job, and I think a well-deserved round of applause would be appropriate. So thank you very much, and have a pleasant, safe journey home, and see you at the next meeting. All the very best.
Members, you can actually leave by that door if you want to as well. The coffee shop is open. I would say that they've opened it specially for us this morning. I know a number of you have given them your tray this morning, but if you're going back by there and you want to get something, then that would be good. Thank you.